I'm quite often to be found on the Illustrator community forums, and from time to time I come across something that I think would make a really interesting movie in solving a problem. And this one, posted over the weekend at the end of March, is just one such thing. It's a graphic that looks like this, and it needs to have some sliding elements that will align. And you can see here that the poster has actually put which elements can be scaled and which must not distort. Now, there are a few different ways of approaching this, but if you want to see my preferred solution, then you're in the right place, and that's here in the Work Smarter Not Harder dojo with me, Tony Harmer, aka the Design Ninja. Okay, so this is of course going to start with the text. So I'm simply going to get the text tool here. I'm going to click and type an uppercase A. I'm not too worried about the typeface that's in use here at the moment. I'm just going to get that to a suitable size so it's easier for you to see. And I'll color this one up in red like so. Now, in one of my solutions that I pasted quickly into this problem, I did suggest how this could be done with effects, but I have noticed that there is potentially an alignment issue. So we're going to do this a slightly different way to my suggestion there. And that's with a rectangle. Of course, if you look at the original diagram, you will see that there is one there. I'll just send that rectangle to the back and we'll give that a slightly different color. So I'm just going to bring up the green slider here just to make that a slightly warmer yellow than it currently is at the moment. There we go. Something like that is just fine. And then I'm going to resize that so it's just a bit closer to the original intent. Additionally here, I am going to center align this text. Now, I don't think that matters too much, but I do think it's good practice if you're creating a repeating element. So let me just make the rectangle there as large as the actual full character height, just so we're getting nothing that's going to risk the alignment being anything other than perfect. So let's get that like so, perfect. And then I'm going to group that. I'm then going to hold down the Option key and drag a copy across like so. Switch to my type tool, highlight the character here and B. So we've got the first component here ready to go. I'll then select both of those items and group those together. Okay, so I have a group now comprised of the other two groups. It's time to go to the appearance panel because most of the work here is going to happen in the appearance panel. So I'm going to add a new fill. I'll use the button at the bottom of the appearance panel for that one. And I'm going to change the color of this one to red. In the original diagram, there was a red and a blue rectangle. Now at the moment, it's just drawing the fill over the top of the existing characters. But I'm going to change that. First of all, I'm going to go to the effects here and choose to convert this to a rectangle, which it does straight away. And I'm going to make this so it's relative. I'm going to give it 0 extra width here, okay, and 0 extra height. That way it will adhere to the shapes underneath perfectly, whatever they may be. And I'm going to hit OK like so. I'm then going to drag this fill down beneath the contents in the appearance panel. Now, I'm not adding any strokes here, but if I did want to add strokes, that would be relatively easy. In fact, let's just add one around the whole group. So if I just add a black stroke here like so, and as this is being drawn on all of the subgroups as well, I'm going to Option drag the rectangle effect or Alt drag the rectangle effect onto the stroke. And you can see now that whatever's happening there is being converted to a rectangle. Now, this is most of the work actually done, believe it or not. If I now switch to the group selection tool, so I'll tap A on my keyboard to get to the direct selection tool and long press there for the group selection tool, ignore the shortcut because that's just on my own copy here. This allows me to work with groups. So I'm going to click on the B there in the group, and I then need to click one more time without holding anything down. That targets that entire subgroup. And if I use my arrow keys now, you'll see that wherever I move that to, and I could just as easily drag it if I wanted to, then it will change the group in between. So the rectangle will be drawn between both. Perfect. All I need to do now then, if I zoom out a little bit here, because we've got this already, I'm going to create a copy of that. So just option dragging or alt dragging a copy from that, and then just changing the fill here to blue, which is in the example exactly the way that works. Okay, so now we've got both groups together. I'm going to bring those up so they just touch just there. Okay, and then just bring this one out to the side like so. You can see that my smart guides there are allowing for alignment, so I know they're going to align perfectly. Then I'm going to select both of those and create another group. So Command G or Control G to do that. I'm then going to add another fill. So Command slash here or Control slash is the quick way to do that. And once again, I'm going to bring this down beneath the content. So at the moment it's behind those two shapes. I'll highlight it. Let's change the color because in the example here, okay, the color was green. And then I'll go to the effects, convert to shape and rectangle like so. Okay, so for extra width here, again, I can just say 0 there like so. Okay, and extra height, 0 as well. Okay, now that's being drawn perfectly. If we want a stroke around that, again, we can select the stroke. I'll just make this one a bit easier to see. I'll just pump that up a little bit there. And once again, option drag that rectangle effect onto the stroke just there as well. And that is pretty much it. It is now set up to work. And the advantage here over using something like a brush is that, of course, I don't have to worry about redrawing the rectangle behind. It's completely dynamic. So let's try that out. I'm going to get my group selection tool. Okay, and once again, I'm going to click once and then twice, okay, on that subgroup. And let's move that across to the side just a little bit like so. I'm going to move the A here, so clicking once and twice to select that subgroup, moving that across, the smart guides there lining me up, and then on the B here, I will click once and then twice, and then move that to the side, and you can see now how the whole group responds to that. If you needed to add in any more of these sliders, so let's just say we had A, B, C, D, E, F, and so on, all you'd need to do would be to go into the group. So just double click into the group there to go into isolation mode, and then just option drag yourself another copy, and you can see that everything there draws on for you. I'll just undo that, and that's it. That would be my proposed solution for it. Of course, there are other ways to do it. That's just my favorite. You'll have to make up your own mind. And I'll see you next time here in the Work Smarter, Not Harder dojo. See ya.